A long time ago, a poor woodcutter lived on the border of a forest with his 2 children, Hansel and Gretel, and his second wife. The wife possessed a cruel nature and did not treat the children well. "There is not enough food in this house for all of us," the stepmother often said. "There are too many mouths to feed." The father did not know what to do and felt very helpless. One day, the stepmother told her husband to take the children deep into the wood and leave them where they would never find their way back. The woodcutter did not know what to do. Now, it just so happened that Hansel was nearby, doing some household chores, when he overheard his stepmother's plan. Hansel ran to Gretel and told her what he had heard. Gretel was horrified, but Hansel had a plan and told her to help him collect as many white pebbles as they could. The next morning, the stepmother woke the children and told them that they were going into the forest to help their father cut wood. The sad woodcutter led the children to a clearing deep in the forest and told them to wait for him while he went to find trees to cut. The children waited for a long time, but their father did not come back. They were very frightened. Hansel comforted his sister. "We collected white pebbles, remember?" he said. "I dropped them behind me as we made our way through the forest. All we need to do is follow them back." The white pebbles gleamed like diamonds in the moonlight, and the children easily followed them back home. They reached their house in the morning. Their stepmother was furious. She scolded her husband. "You good-for-nothing! Can't you do anything right?" she said as she stomped her foot. "The children are back!" She demanded that he take the children to the forest again the next day. The next day, the woodcutter took Hansel and Gretel into the forest once again, only much deeper than before. Hansel did not have time to gather pebbles, so he used a loaf of bread and dropped the crumbs behind him as they walked. However, when the children went to follow the path home, the crumbs were gone. They had been eaten by birds. Hansel and Gretel were truly lost. The brother and sister walked through the forest for hours and were becoming very hungry. Suddenly, they came upon a strange cottage. A cottage made of sweets. They were amazed to see walls made of chocolates, doors and windows made of cookies, and a roof embedded with icing and candy. They ran to the house and began to eat. Little did they know that the delicious cottage belonged to a wicked witch, whose favorite food was not sweets, but children. No sooner did Hansel and Gretel take candy from the cottage than she grabbed them and dragged them into her home. The witch locked Hansel in a cage and told him that once she fattened him up, he would be baked into a pie. She made Gretel do the housework, but promised to eat her once she was done with Hansel. The witch checked Hansel's fingers daily to see if he was ready to eat. Weeks passed until finally she declared that Hansel was suitably juicy and ready for roasting. She ordered Gretel to light the oven. Gretel lit the oven and racked her brain for a way to save her brother. The witch asked Gretel if the oven was hot enough. Gretel told her that she wasn't tall enough to check properly. The witch grumbled and pushed Gretel out of the way, leaning forward into the oven to check the heat. Suddenly, Gretel gave the witch a great shove into the hot oven. The witch screamed as Gretel slammed the oven door shut. The witch was punished for her wickedness, and Gretel ran to free her brother. Hansel and Gretel escaped the cottage and ran back into the forest. Luck favored the children, and they soon found their way back home. The woodcutter was very happy to see his children return. He told them how sorry he was for listening to his wife, and that he had kicked her out. The children hugged their father, and the three of them lived happily once more.